So, I want to talk about Battlefield 1 today, and more specifically, the Battlefield 1 Open Beta. I put some time into this Open Beta, and I'm going to be totally honest with you guys. I'm pretty underwhelmed. And that's not to say that it's necessarily a bad game, because it's not. It's a well-made game, as it should be, because it has a big budget behind it, and there are hundreds and hundreds of people working on this game. But the biggest problem that I have with this game, and the biggest problem that I had with previous Battlefield games, is that they all kind of felt the same. And I guess you can sit there and make that case for any game, but it's like, especially with this game, Battlefield 1, it's like, well, they're supposed to do, they're doing World War One here, and yet it hardly resembles World War One at all. And I was kind of hoping for more of a refined experience that kind of caters towards, World War One, the World War One stuff that they have going on here. But I didn't find any of that in the open beta. You know what I mean? And I've never been big on Battlefield. I've always thought Battlefield was kind of boring, to be honest with you guys, because, you got to go from point A to point B, and while you're doing that, it's just not all that fun. You got these big, huge maps, and yeah, sure, they got all of these vehicles and this, that, and the other, but it's like, especially in this Battlefield 1 open beta, in this desert map, going from point A to point B is not all that fun, because you're more than likely going to be taken out by a sniper because of how barren and big and open the map is. Let's talk positives real quick. Positives, the game is visually stunning, and in addition to that, it sounds outstanding. Like, in those two aspects, like, this is the game that you put on if you want to impress your friends. You know what I mean? Or if you want to impress someone who's not into the video game loop, and they might think, wow, that looks really real. You know what I mean? Some other small things, like the vehicles this time around, are pretty fun. I mean, they might have been fun in previous Battlefield games, but I can't really remember how they were. You have the horse with the katana now, or the sword. You can go do some crazy cool stuff while you're on the horse. In addition to that, you have multiple tanks and land vehicles, and you also have an airplane. You can do some crazy cool stunts with the airplane if you're bored. And in addition to that, some other small things, you have like a Bayonetta Charge that you can do. You can hold down like R3 or L3, I forgot which button it is, and you can go, and it does like this really cool, it's just cool. So if you have the Battlefield 1 Open Beta, try the Bayonetta Charge. Bayonetta Charge. Bayonet Charge. Bayonetta, that's a game. But aside from those things, it's like, okay, here we are yet again, and it's kind of the same old story, and I know a lot of Battlefield fans are going to be like, we didn't want a totally different game, but as someone who's not really a hardcore Battlefield fan, I was kind of hoping for this title to do something a little bit different than previous Battlefield entries. I was kind of hoping for this game to bring something new to the table, and it just didn't do any of that. And I think, I got so bored. I got so bored with doing what I was supposed to do here in this open beta. So what I did was I took the tank and I just roamed around aimlessly and tried to destroy everything, because I wanted to test out the new destructible environments that are supposedly here in this game. They've supposedly improved upon some of the destructible aspects here, and I wanted to test that out. So I did, and I got to be honest with you guys, it was yet another underwhelming experience. I mean, Red Faction did this many years ago, and it did it better. I mean, some of the destruction here in this game is kind of laughable. It's like, oh, they've improved it. Well, they didn't really improve it all that much. It's like, this is a 2016 modern day video game with a big budget behind it. That's all they could do. You know what I mean? It's like it's kind of silly. And I know you're not supposed to sit there and just like destroy everything. That's not the main point of the game. But, I kind of wanted to see if they've really improved upon those aspects. And it just doesn't seem like, at least here for this open beta, that they did. I think I think the reason why I'm so underwhelmed, in addition to the other reasons that I mentioned, is because the map, the boring barren desert that they've chose to include here in this open beta, it does not do the game any favors. It is just not interesting or fun, and I'm sure I'm not the only one that feels that way. I just feel like this map, there's nothing to look at because it's a desert, and it's like, oh, okay. I mean, sometimes they got a cool little sandstorm that's going on, but I wish I can come on here and be excited about this game, but honestly, after having played the open beta, it's like, it's another Battlefield game. And I'm just not big on Battlefield, and maybe I don't know, maybe that's the problem. But honestly, I've always been more fond of Call of Duty and the gameplay that Call of Duty provides. You know, with Call of Duty, it's a more fast-paced, snappier game, you know, and especially when compared to Battlefield. You know, Battlefield's a little bit more sluggish. It's a little bit more tactical in the gameplay sense, but none of that was all that particularly interesting to me. And, you know, with Battlefield 1, at least with this open beta, you know, it's kind of the same old story. And it's like, okay, well, I guess if you like Battlefield games, this is yet another Battlefield game, just with a different theme on it. And if you're not particularly fond of previous Battlefield entries, then you're more than likely not going. I mean, this isn't going to win you over. You know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe I should give it more time, and maybe I should let my thoughts kind of, maybe I should give my time some more thoughts as well. My thoughts some more time as well. But that was, those are my thoughts on the Battlefield 1 Open Beta. Feel free to leave your thoughts down below, and I guess if you guys like want to play together or something like that, if you have a PS4, feel free to add me. My gamer tag, username, whatever you want to call it, is Michael Does Life, same as it is here on my YouTube channel. I'll probably give the open beta some more time, but initial impressions, not all that impressed. Thanks for watching. Take care.